Hi, it's Jessie Guessman, and happy Palm Sunday. I'm here with devotions from the farm, and I was thinking about the Last Supper, but I actually wanted to start at the end of the crucifixion and work backward, if possible. Thinking about Jesus hanging on the cross. Everyone has forsaken him. His friends have left, one denying him, one betraying him, and now he's been declared a criminal. Someone who is so bad, such a danger to society, his imagined crimes considered worthy of the ultimate punishment, death. He's been beaten to the point where he couldn't even carry his own cross, and he's just minutes away from dying. He's surrounded on both sides by thieves. That's who's with him in his final moments. Thieves. How alone he must have felt. How depressed. Ashamed. And yet, when the thief turns to him and asks for mercy, Jesus had 12 disciples. Wouldn't this have been a time for one of them to step in and say, "Hey, the master has a lot on his plate right now. Let me help you with that." But no one was there to help, and Jesus handled the thief himself. Backing up a little, on the way to the crucifixion. Now, Romans typically had the criminals carry their own crosses to the place where they were to be crucified. Jesus had been beaten and whipped, and he was so weak that he couldn't carry his own cross. You'd have thought one of his friends would step up. The men who had sat at his feet, seen his miracles, known him for years. But no. The Bible records that as they led him away to be crucified, they compelled a Simon of Cyrene, who was standing nearby, to carry his cross. Where were his disciples? Apparently not standing nearby, right? Backing up farther, as he was being accused, there was no one to defend him. All the crowds who had listened to him preach, everyone he had healed, all who had seen his miracles, where were they? None of the people who Jesus had helped showed up to give him a defense. As we continue going back, the cock is crowing, and one of Jesus' most outspoken disciples has just denied knowing him or being associated with him for the third time. Before that, everyone fled. Before that, in the Garden of Gethsemane, he asked his friends to pray with him. They didn't seem too excited about praying for him and actually fell asleep. Going back before that to the Last Supper, John records that Jesus gives his disciple a new commandment, to love others as I have loved you. That was just after he had taken water in a towel and washed his disciples' feet. All of his disciples' feet. He washed Peter's feet. He washed Judas's feet. He washed the feet of people whom he knew were going to forsake him, not pray for him, not defend him, betray him, deny him, and not support him in his hour of need. And remember, right after he did that, knowing what was to come, he gave them a new commandment, to love others as he loved. Wow. Do you have friends who have not been loyal? This is a tough one for me because loyalty is something that I am. And it is something that I look for in others. And honestly, I almost demand it of my friends. I admire it, crave it, and show it. So yeah, I definitely know people who have not been loyal. Do you have people whom you used to be friends with? Maybe good friends. Whom you don't speak to anymore? Maybe family. Jesus' command is to love as he loved. Can you imagine going to that person who used to be your friend, but you had a falling out, and now you don't talk to them? Imagine going to them and, we don't really have a custom to watch feet, but go to them and offer to take out their trash, empty their bedpan, clean their toilet, pick the lice out of their hair, empty their ashtray. I think for most of us, for me, even talking to them would tax our goodwill. I can't imagine putting myself in a servant's position and showing love to my enemies by doing whatever lowly jobs they had for me. But that's exactly how Jesus showed his love. And he did it knowing exactly what they would be doing or not doing in just a few short hours. Now, I have two more things I wanted to point out. The first is that after the crucifixion, after he'd been abandoned, betrayed, and denied, when no one had stuck up for him or even stayed with him, what did Jesus do when he saw his disciples again? Did he give them a hard time for their lack? Did he berate them for their disloyalty, hold grudges, Jesse, or refuse to talk to them until they apologized and assured him it wouldn't happen again? You all know. Of course he didn't. He walked with them by the way and didn't even tell them who he was. But he wasn't yelling at them because they said their hearts stirred in their breast and they were warmed. Then, of course, he met Peter by the shore of the lake. Peter at least needs a good dressing down, right? Nope. Jesus held a fish fry and invited Peter to come eat. He cooked, served Peter and the others. He forgave easily and completely and went right back to being a servant. Now, of course, we can learn from this to love as Jesus loved. Be a servant. To forgive easily and completely, no matter what people do to us. All good lessons and all things I need to work on. But the thing that really strikes me about this is the disciples were common men, fishermen for the most part, not professionals, not great speakers, not well educated. And they had made a pretty big mistake. Come on, they had abandoned the Son of God. They'd allowed him to be crucified alone, denied him, left him, doubted him. And yet, look at what God's great love and forgiveness and example did to them. They are 12 souls, and they are the 12 souls responsible for spreading Christianity to millions of people around the world throughout history. Except for possibly one, they all died martyrs' deaths for Christ. They boldly faced lions, boiling oil, torture, and crucifixion for the name of Jesus. They were just ordinary men, but they became extraordinary because of the love and forgiveness and example of just one man. Now, of course, knowing Jesus will change people. But Jesus commands us to love as he loved, forgive as he forgave, serve as he served, and I wonder, is there a man in my life, a woman, a child, an ordinary person who could possibly become an extraordinary person because of the love and forgiveness that I lavish upon them? Lavish as Jesus did, without reserve, without qualifications, without feeling the need to lecture or get apologies or see a life change. I just love, serve, forgive, and repeat with joy, with a good attitude, letting that person know that no matter what they do to me, I will love them, forgive them, support them, and be there for them as much as I am able, no matter what they do, how they treat me, how they hurt me, just like Jesus did with his disciples. Wouldn't that change someone's life? Jesus changed 11 lives simply by practicing what he preached. Can I do the same? Can you?